Putin doomed. Ex-army officer brilliantly sums up why Ukraine will triumph on battleground. An ex-army soldier has summed up why he believes Ukraine will triumph in the conflict with Russia. Former U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling tweeted that armed forces with an unshakable belief in what they are fighting for and with the right support can overcome a force that seemingly has superior resources. Mr. Hertling, who commanded 1st Armored Division and U.S. Army Europe before retiring in 2013, explained that, while Russia has superiority in the air and devastating artillery, its training sucks and intelligence is clumsy. He said, their soldiers are mostly one-year conscripts, not professionals, and they have a poor NCO corps. Their officers, for the most part, are terrible. The former soldier added that when he first served with Ukrainian soldiers in 2004, they were also poorly led, trained and disciplined, but they have since improved significantly because of revamped training, more battlefield experience and good leaders. He tweeted, since then, Ukraine's army has continued to evolve and now they have an extremely supported population, good officer NCO leadership, they are a professional force with a good reserve ready to support, their government is also supportive. Add to this, Ukraine now has allies all over the world. More support. Mr. Hertling went on to say that Moscow's invasion is being scorned due to the lies and crimes of Russian President Vladimir Putin, warning that the derision would continue as Russian forces continue to commit battlefield atrocities. He described Ukraine as having a tough first day of fighting, warning that today will be tougher with a combination of conventional, unconventional, cyber, air, artillery and special operations tools being tough to address. He continued, but Russia is still on the offensive, so they have to act, and must continue to move. They will wear down. Though Ukraine's initial defense wasn't great today, it will improve. Whether called an insurgency or a guerrilla war, Ukraine will wear down an enemy that already has low morale and even lower support from their population back in Mother Russia. Don't discount the Russian army's increasing unwillingness to fight for Putin. They will see their cause as being suspect, if they don't already. And they will experience more battlefield deaths than they anticipated, which will cause even more protests at home. It will likely be a long fight. Putin will be increasingly portrayed as a loser. He is not a risk-taker, he's a gambler. You can mitigate risk, but you can't overcome a losing gamble. Putin will go the way of Stalin, Hitler, Ceausescu, Saddam. And Ukraine will be a stronger nation. But only if we continue to stand beside. Mr. Hertling's analysis comes as Defense Secretary Ben Wallace said he would expect Mr. Putin to be held to account if he committed a war crime. He told Sky News: if President Putin commits a war crime, then, just as I do if I were to commit a war crime, I should expect to be held to account. Asked if Mr. Putin's actions already constituted a war crime, he said, I'm not, I'm afraid, an international lawyer. I couldn't tell you the difference between breaking international law insofar as directing your forces to invade another country, versus a war crime, things like genocide, and indeed, torture, etc. I wouldn't want to speculate the differences. What I would say is he's clearly broken international law. He's occupying or trying to occupy a sovereign country who made one mistake in his eyes. Their mistake in his eyes was not to choose the Kremlin as a way for their future. And that's all they have done. Russia launched its invasion by land, air and sea on Thursday following a declaration of war by Mr. Putin in the biggest attack on a European state since World War II. Missiles pounded the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, on Friday as Russian forces pressed their advance. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pleaded with the international community to do more, saying sanctions announced so far were not enough. Mr. Putin says Russia is carrying out a special military operation to stop the Ukrainian government from committing genocide against its own people, an accusation the West calls baseless. He also says Ukraine is an illegitimate state whose lands historically belonged to Russia. Thank you for watching our videos. Subscribe to our channel to get notifications when we post newest videos. Thank you and goodbye.